Coming up on First at 4, the latest on a deadly shooting following an alleged road rage incident in Laurel County. And are you struggling to pay some of your bills? How a community action agency could help.
And a severe weather alert day has been issued due to heavy rain currently moving through the mountains. First at 4 is next.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News First at 4.
Good afternoon, I'm Steve Hensley. Governor Andy Beshear is giving an update on Kentucky's battle against the COVID-19 outbreak. You can watch that news conference on our second channel, HNI, and on the WYMT Facebook page. Of course, we're monitoring for any major developments and we'll bring you those as they happen. But first at 4, it's been a soggy Thursday and there are concerns about flash flooding through tomorrow. Let's check in first with Chief Meteorologist Paige Noel on this severe weather alert day. Paige?
Well, Steve, a flash flood watch has been issued for a majority of the mountains. This goes until about 8 a.m. on Friday. So we're seeing the rain now, and that'll continue throughout tonight, overnight, and a little bit into the morning hours. You can see that flash flood watch right there with the counties that are highlighted in green. Deep Cumberland Valley is not in this, but of course we'll continue to keep an eye on you guys as you are experiencing some pockets of heavy rain as well, but you can see most of it up into those northern counties, the areas that were highlighted in that green. Areas along I-64 back towards Lexington into Charleston have definitely seen the brunt of the rain today, now starting to dip a little bit more into the mountains. We do have actually a flash flood warning in effect for parts of Wolfe County. I think this does include the city of Campton as well. That goes until 6:45. You can see over the past hour the yellows, the oranges, and the reds in kind of that same area. Once again, this is on an hour loop, so definitely watch out for some flash flooding, especially along creeks and rivers, and definitely if you ever see a flooded roadway, do not drive through it. Pockets of heavy rain even down into the Cumberland Valley, but you can see those kind of dying out a little bit as they move through parts of Whitley County into Knox and starting to move into parts of Bell County. So far, some of us have reached close to an inch of rain, over an inch of rain up towards Morgan County. Rowan County hasn't been too bad yet. And as we look over into parts of Jackson and Breathitt County, close to an inch, even over into Owsley County. We could see about an inch, 2 to maybe 3 inches in some spots by the time we get into your Friday morning. We'll talk a little bit more about that Friday forecast coming up in a little bit.
All right, Paige, thank you. Yesterday afternoon in Laurel County, an apparent road rage incident turned into a shooting, leaving one man dead. WYMT's Emily Bennett brings us more on the investigation from the Sheriff's Department.
Around 3:30 yesterday afternoon, officials with the Laurel County Sheriff's Office say 2 vehicles cut each other off on US 25E. They then pulled off onto US 25 here on a side road. Deputies responded to Haynes Baker Road to a call about a gunshot victim laying on the side of the road. They arrived finding Jack Davis with multiple gunshot wounds. Through an investigation, Public Affairs Deputy Gilbert Achardo says passengers in the vehicles told deputies an SUV and a pickup truck were involved in a road rage incident. Words were exchanged and a confrontation began between the 2 drivers. Both were armed. Moments later, shots were fired from the driver of the pickup truck.
We have road rage complaints almost every single day on I-75, especially on side roads. If there's road construction, just a lot of different things cause the road rage incidents to occur. They're frequent, but this is never the outcome, and it's not, and it shouldn't be the outcome.
Jack Davis of Barberville, the driver of the SUV, was taken to Baptist Health Hospital with serious injuries. He died later that day. An autopsy is being performed today in Frankfort. In Laurel County, Emily Bennett, WYMT Mountain News.
This investigation will be presented to a Laurel County grand jury. As businesses and organizations have felt the impact of the coronavirus pandemic, we are now seeing furniture stores deal with a furniture shortage. Kemper Furniture in Hazard initially saw a slowdown in sales, but as things started to open back up and more people spent time at home, business started to pick up. Vice President Thomas Kemper says with factories shut down in certain countries, some pieces are taking 8 to 12 weeks to come in.
We're making sure we tell everyone up front, and that way we can encourage to maybe show some people some different things or in-stock items. And then we can also go through orders of what we have coming and sort of show people pictures and so forth.
Kemper says some brands are seeing a greater impact than others, and he says he expects the demand to continue. The number of Americans who died from the coronavirus surpassed 150,000 yesterday. FEMA reports a 30% increase in deaths just last week. Florida, Texas, California, North Carolina, and Idaho hit a daily record for deaths yesterday. The FDA now says it could approve a vaccine in a matter of weeks. The department is weighing the risks, though, associated with the vaccine and not having one. For the first time in U.S. history, a sitting president is suggesting delaying a presidential election. It has never happened before, not during the Civil War, World War I, or even World War II. President Donald Trump suggested on Twitter today to delay the election until people can properly, securely, and safely vote. The president claims universal mail-in voting is inaccurate and fraudulent, despite no widespread evidence of fraud tied to mail-in voting. A spokesman for the president says the president is just raising a question. The Constitution gives Congress the power to set the date for voting, not the president. The Big Sandy Area Community Action Program received money from the CARES Act to help the community during the pandemic. WYMT's Dakota Makris spoke with a grant writer and has more on how they are spending some of that CARES Act money.
The Big Sandy Community Action Program is helping community members of 5 counties with assistance on their past due water, sewage, or garbage bills. The action program received $1 million in CARES Act funding and is using 1/3 of that money for this program. Those who meet 200% of the federal poverty level or below can receive up to $200 in a one-time payment.
Right now, we feel like this is coming at a really important time as more like eviction moratoriums are being lifted. This program will hopefully help people who, if your water, sewer, garbage is included in your rent and you get that eviction notice, you can come to us and we can help you with up to $200. It depends on your individual situation.
Those who live in Floyd, Johnson, Martin, McGoffin, and Pike counties are eligible for this program. For now, I'm in Johnson County. Dakota Makris, WYMT Mountain News.
If you want to see if you are eligible for the program, you can call 1-877-792-2219 to book an appointment. The coronavirus pandemic is changing the way students are attending classes, whether that means delaying in-person classes or having all virtual classes or some combination. Do you need to know what your school's plan is? Well, if you head on over to our website, WYMT.com, we have a new story today, and we've compiled a list of schools in our coverage area and what their plans are for the upcoming school year. Again, that's at WYMT.com, and it could still change between now and then, and we'll try to keep it updated as best we can. The U.S. economy experienced its worst drop on record amid the pandemic lockdown. The broadest measure of the economy, the gross domestic product, fell by an annual rate of 32.9% in the second quarter. The GDP dropped 5% in the first quarter. A recession is commonly defined as 2 consecutive quarters of declining GDP. The second quarter was the worst since records started in 1947. Let's head over to Wall Street now on this Thursday afternoon, and the Dow closes down today more than 225 points. While fall sports in Kentucky received good news this week, a number of games will get cut from the early weeks, and one of those casualties, the 36th annual Community Trust Bank WYMT Pike County Bowl. Despite not having the games this year, the committee announced they will give the money meant to put on the bowl game to the 6 Pike County schools, in addition to smaller scholarships for all 8 Pike County Queen candidates.
Some of our county schools, smaller programs, rely heavily on that money to basically fund their team. So we didn't want to in any way put them in a situation where they may not could handle it. So we definitely wanted to still make a contribution.
The committee has no plans of rescheduling later in the season. Straight ahead on First at 4, a 2012 Republican presidential candidate dies from COVID-19. We'll remember Herman Cain.
And we'll continue to see the soggy weather for your Friday and into the first half of your weekend. I'll have a look at that forecast coming up.